What if the thing holding you back isn't failure?
What if it's success?
What if you've checked all the boxes,
Built the career,
started the family,
created the business.
and somehow,
It still doesn't feel quite aligned.
what happens when you're willing to challenge the script
Question the rules.
and stop asking for permission?
That's usually where disruption begins.
Welcome back to Aligned Anyway. I'm your co host, Tiffany.
And I'm your co host, Josh.
Today, we're joined by a woman who knows a thing or two about disrupting expectations,
And just to add a little bit of extra fun, she is a 2-time best-selling author,
a speaker,
a founder,
a mom,
a podcast host.
and in her own words, a disruptor.
And today we're going to be talking with Katy Rey about purpose, reinvention, leadership, and what happens when you stop living the life that other people expect from you and you start building one that actually feels like you.
Katy, welcome to Aligned Anyway, and we want to hear from you. Tell us about you from your own words.
Oh my gosh. First of all, I love that introduction. I'm going to take you both everywhere with me. Yes. Yeah, like everywhere. Let's just go everywhere. Thank you for having me. I love you both. We met years ago, and I'm so glad you all are doing this. I'm that person. I'm the human that with every interaction I have with you, I want to leave you better than I found you, pour my energy into you. That's not caffeine, drug, or alcohol related anymore. And I just want to remind you what you're capable of, because it feels really good when you know who you are and you don't let outside judgment, stereotypes telling you what milestone you need to hit in your face all the time, changing your course. I'm 41 as of a week ago. And I am
Happy birthday. Hell yeah.
Thank you. A Gemini. It is the season. But it is to be aligned with yourself and just know that what you're doing is what you should be doing, and not worrying about other people and their opinions is really a glorious feeling.
It really is. And it's funny, as we've been talking about just like doing podcasts and as we're doing posts and things like that, we talk about that and we're like, this feels so cringe. But okay, let's go with it. We're going to do it anyway. And as I think about like when and we'll tell everybody the story because you already mentioned that we've known each other for years now. So everybody knows that Josh and I, we were coworkers turned besties. I introduced you, Katy, to Josh. You were a client of ours. And I remember we went to lunch and we just had the best time. And it was like, it's always hard to navigate because it's like, is this a work lunch? Is it fun? But like your energy is so like, bam, like we're here, we're ready to go. And
We're
just
always
being
gonna have
around
fun.
you is just like infectious.
Yeah. And I like being that person. And if I'm too much for some people, in different environment, know your audience is my thing I teach my kids. I can't come in with high energy when it's a sad moment. But I do think life is really short, and my addiction to impact is so great and something I continuously focus on that I don't want to not be myself in a room. So it's always a friend meeting when we get together. And and then it gets into learning what we're doing, how we can support each other and really elevate each other. I told someone recently, we have really good friends, especially in women's groups. That's how I met Tiffany. And women don't refer each other enough. But men will refer the biggest a-hole in their group and be like, go get some insurance. And you're like, wait, what? Like, why are we not doing that as much? So like understanding people and me building relationships is how I thrive. And just enjoying it and showing my kids that I'm not only a mom. Yes, that is my favorite job, but I also have other things that fill my cup up. Like this shit's fun, you know?
Something that really impressed me about you when I first met you was that you told me that you came from the corporate background and you decided that there was something in your life that made you kind of wake up and go like, this is not it for me anymore. And then it kind of like jump started your journey into what you're doing now. And I would love to hear a little bit more about that.
Yeah, corporate, I loved building sales teams, IT for large IT manufacturers. I loved it because I loved my reps. I loved seeing them thrive. I loved getting them to the vendor. I loved everything about it. But it was always a leader I would always butt heads with about people matter. Like, how do you build, like, what are we doing for them? Not only hitting a sales number, but what else are we doing? It's funny, I was in sales because, like, we are a number. But I would always be fighting and fighting. And so I started consulting, and then I got dragged into another corporate. And then I was like, this is it, Katy. I don't want to do this anymore. I want to be with like-minded leaders. I want to build something so people aren't losing their soul at work. And I started Humans First Coaching, and I love it. I still have clients and I still do it. I don't pitch it like I used to because I focus on Fostering Hearts Florida, which is a nonprofit that closes the gap on education for foster youth. Because as much as I love corporate and adults like us, we have the tools. Foster youth have no idea what's out there. They don't know these opportunities and access. And like, I love still going into corporate and reminding people like, you don't have to lose yourself in a job. Like, you don't have to. Like, personal and professional always intertwine. You know, people are always like, leave it at the door. You're at work. And you're like, how is that possible? This is my life.
It's not.
It's
It's not.
not.
You're right. It's not.
But my favorite part about corporate was meeting people. And I was like, Katie, what is your superpower? My superpower is my crazy energy, but it's just reminding people that they're capable of whatever the hell is on their heart, like whatever you want. And being with our youth, and we've helped over 115 foster youth since 2024 launch in August, ages 6 to 27, reminding them because I staff educators. I'm not the educator, but I'm like Ted Lasso, and I remind them I believe in them, and just showing them that there's other ways than just survival is I am. I told someone, I was like, I can't stop now. As exhausting as some days are, like, there's absolutely no way I can stop because it's working. I have a team of magical unicorns of educators who just pour into this youth and aged out youth. Like, and I use what my superpower was people and focusing on people and driving it. And now I use it towards the youth because Whitney Houston said it. The children are our future. You know it. I know it. We know it.
Love a
Okay.
good listen, I love a good Auntie Whitney reference. She's from Jersey, so anybody from Jersey, I just say is my aunt because they probably are. But, no, I love that,
My
and then
aunt.
and I think you know this, but when I was in Florida, I was on the board for Ready for Life, which helped, kids that are aging out of foster care get ready for life, and so that was something that really touched me, and at one point before I met my fiance who already has 4 kids, I was thinking about fostering and things like that because I always wanted to be a mom. And what drove me to really want to be a mom is some of the things that I went through growing up. And I just wanted an opportunity to teach another child differently so that they don't fall in some of the same pit holes that I fell in. And those pit holes really just come from lack of knowledge. And you're right, starting at that age is pivotal because that's when so many things are forming. And a lot of the times, once someone gets to a certain age, it is really hard to break those patterns. So I understand what you're saying. We're like, yeah, adults are great. Like we have the tools, but also we have the tools, but we kind of keep going back to those same patterns. So for you to be like, you know what, let me start a little bit younger. Let me start where there's really impact and change.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with a coworker like last week. I had this big epiphany of like analyzing the homeless lifestyle because in my corporate world, there's a lot of homeless in my location. I started wondering like, how can somebody get to this place? How can somebody just let themselves go to a place of alcohol, drugs, not having education, getting in and out of jail or prison, doing worse crimes? And I started thinking like, God, how would you get to a place that bad? You didn't have any resources, or did you not have family or friends? But I think that what Katie's doing kind of nails that. Like, I think a lot of this is starting in the foster system. We are fostering out and aging out all these children that are now these young adults that have zero tools, that have had zero support, zero love, zero direction. And now they're like, hey, go out and live and hopefully you're successful and don't drown. And that's contributing to a trickle down in society of crime and all of these awful negative things. But it's starting with the lack of action and the fact that you're taking action and you're grabbing it by your own hands and you're going, I see an opportunity to make change here. And there's a big one and you're hitting it head on. And a lot of people don't just do that. It's such an inspiration that you're doing this. And I want to say thank you because it's amazing.
I say now, like, kind of like people need people to thrive, and you leave a child in a system who don't have people. Like, how are you going to know where to go? You're 18. I made atrocious decisions at 18 with the best support system. I mean, the worst. Okay, so the fact that you think an 18-year-old all of a sudden isn't going to be homeless, in jail, pregnant, like none of this is going to happen. Like they're just going to be like, "Oh, I'm grateful. I
Figure it
have an
out.
opportunity." Like, I'm going to do a resume. I've only been in a group home my entire life. How does that make any logical sense? And all of that is true. Like 80% of our GED students at Ready for Life are homeless. We have an educator there, and we have 4 locations where we place educators, and, my big goal is that we have homes where we house them. They've gone through our program, and they're just getting opportunities and access, and I partner with other nonprofits because I told someone the other day, like, "I don't wanna reinvent anything. We're gonna stick to education. We're gonna partner with other people doing the work." Like, we're all gonna burn out if we don't. Like, and if we don't collaborate and it gets weird and you're like, "Oh, that's my donor," and like, no, that's not what this is about. This is about how are we supporting these children who never had anybody or had the most important person in their life turn their backs from them or hurt them. So, I mean, it's been awesome and sad and awesome. And I always say, like, 5 years ago, Katie, who didn't have her self-care things in place, workout so I don't beat up people on the street. Like, that's why I don't do it for bikini season. And we do it so I don't fight people that take care of our kids that aren't good people. But like, so it's like, if I didn't have those in place, could I do this? Probably not. We see some really bad stuff, or we hear from the kids themselves of their stories, and your heart just drops like, oh my gosh, like, how could this have gotten here? And you wonder why they self-sabotage like we do as adults, or they're in survival mode because they've never seen what it looks like. And you find your community, and they might find it in the wrong people, the people that hurt kids. So it's like we have to create the other community so they know, like, this is a trusting area, this is a good place. But I noticed that schools weren't safe for foster kids anymore. Like, they're getting moved 14 to 40 times in a year, and you're just supposed to catch up. Like, you're just supposed to be like, "Oh, yeah, I'll totally get this math lesson," you know? And our GED program, when we launched April 2025, was big for us because I really wanted to get to the older kids as quickly as possible and give them that option after they've dropped out of high school or they've already aged out to, like, get that milestone because they deserved it for more opportunities, and that's been awesome for, like, I love that because you're really talking to someone who didn't get to have a childhood, and you're trying to remind them to be a kid because 'cause I'm a big kid. Like, I'm naturally just they'll just be like, "Katie,
Yeah.
you're crazy." I'm like, "Thank you." Oh my
Thank
god.
you. What a
Are we best
compliment.
friends
You
now? Oh
noticed?
my god.
Like, what?
A job
Like,
well
how
done.
exactly, like, okay, good. What I wanted to come across did, right? How did you end up getting into this? Because I know you said 5 years ago, Katie wouldn't have been able to do it without
Oh,
the
yeah.
tools and
Yeah.
resources and things like
Um,
that. So was there ever a season where your life looked successful from the outside, but on the inside, it
yeah.
was like, "No."
A hot mess? Yeah, 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 for sure. A shit show? For sure, for sure, for sure.
Right?
I as a kid, and I wrote Your Labels Don't Define You, You Define You, because I wanted to go through my life when labels had taken, like, kept me off the path, or I was judged by something. As a child, when my dad came out, I was in a Catholic school, and, we do holidays together. My dad's remarried to his husband. My mom's remarried to her husband. It's a beautiful thing. My kids get to see love in such a beautiful space, but all this shame was over me because of a religion. And I'm big on God, universe, angels, but if your religion is attacking a group of people, then you need to take a step back and be like, is this really what? I don't judge people on who they love, where they're from, or who they pray to. But like, it made me who I was in that. But that was a really heavy time. And like, they would always be like, your dad is a homosexual, all the Catholics. And you're like, okay, cool. Like, he's the coolest man I know. He's one of my best friends. But, like, it was very, like, shame. So I was, like, in this moment of, like, "Oh, are we bad now? Like, oh, what is happening?" And then it shifts into me dealing drugs in college and thinking money was my value, and getting arrested, and now I'm a felon because I grew pot in my college dorm, like, all these things. And then I was looked at, not for all the work I've done. I've worked since I was 13. It was more, "This is you. This is your label now. Like, you look like crap on paper." And then I shifted into marrying a baseball player, USF, and wanting to get pregnant. I was infertile. So, like, there were all these things. I had to do IVF to have my kids, and, like, all these shameful labels just kept going over me. And I just realized, like, I can't imagine what a foster youth with all these labels thrown at them, bad kid, behavior issues. Like, I just can't
Never amount to
imagine how
anything.
heavy that is
Yeah.
on them. Like, it just doesn't make sense. So when I started Humans First Fostering Hearts, same time when I left corporate, I was telling everybody what I was doing, and they were just like, "Okay, that's a lot of things. Like, what are you doing?" And I realized, like, I need to be more of an advocate for kids right now. So I shifted into, like, fostering heart stuff. And it's just like, every time I was in these, like, moments, or my now ex-husband, but At one point, we came back together after addiction recovery and infidelity, and we came back. And being a part of the addiction community was a lot, but it looked like we were great since like people are always just like, they're so great. And I'm like, actually, we're healing 7 years. This was 8 years ago when my kids were super small, but it was a lot. Like, it's always been like heavy, but I feel like if the labels didn't get in my head in those times, I could stay on my path of like helping others and being authentic and just showing up as myself. But there were times where it really, especially out of college when I finally graduated and I was applying and people were like, sorry, you have a record. But now I get to look at some of these kiddos and I'm like, it's okay. That's okay that that happened at 17 or I was 21. But like, I had a 19-year-old in our GED program, and he was so upset about having an ankle monitor. I was like, listen, this moment will define you. I promise. And I told him my story, and he was just like, what? Also hilarious, street cred.
Right.
But like,
They were like, "Oh, I respect you now."
they're like, Coach Ray? Oh, and I was like, you're welcome. But it's more to remind them like life is going to get really ugly, but then this beautiful thing happens after. Or life is going to feel really heavy, but then you get to learn something from it and become who you're going to be. Because every single label I got is glorious to me now. First of all, I have a heart where I welcome anybody and don't judge you because I watched families that were perfect judge the shit out of mine because of a religion or what they thought the Bible said. And I'm like, I think you're reading the wrong one. But like, like and now people are like, where does your heart come from? I'm like, because I look at people for character. If you have a shady character, I don't want to be your friend. But like, I don't have any other reason to judge you.
So I loved with you what you shared about basically, I feel like your superpower is authenticity. I know we talked about it being energy, which I feel like all of that kind of flows together anyway. You know how you can, me and Josh have been talking about this as we've been meeting with guests and things like that. We're really big on like going off of the energy that we feel, right? So that authenticity is something that you can feel the moment you hit the room. So as you're dealing with children who typically find it hard to communicate because no one taught them, who feel shame for the things that they've gone through and mask it with typically hardness or more bad behavior, right? And that's what happens is we get these labels and then we think that these labels belong to us. So even if we want to do something different, it's like we got to stick to the status quo of what this label is. Like a label that I'm looking at or thinking about right now is like my label is strong and I'm like I don't want to be that, but I'm so used to being that that I stick to that motion. And I just can't imagine. I didn't grow up in the foster care system. However, this is something that I feel like is needed for children all ages everywhere. Like this is something that could be taught in school or something. Like emotional regulation is a huge thing. And ever since I became, a bonus mom and I fell in love with someone who has 4 kids and I decided to take that on full swing. Let's go and just dive in, right? And a lot of what I focused on, at least with the youngest, because it's just easier, is emotions. Being able to label and talk about what your emotions are. When I would see her act out, I'd be like, hey, let's talk through this. Tell me what you're feeling right now. And we would focus on like where it is physically, where it is mentally, what that means. We would watch Inside Out. We didn't have cartoons like that growing up,
No, it's good for adults. Everybody
Right.
needs to watch that.
I watch it at least twice a year.
It's
I love it.
I was Joy for Halloween. My daughter was Disgust. My ex was
I've
Anger.
never seen it. I know I'm gonna be in trouble right now, but I've
Josh, you're
never.
in so
I
much
know,
trouble.
I know. I've never
Dude,
seen it.
you've got to
But
see it.
you're
It's
right.
beautiful.
Regulating emotions, foster kids go 0 to 60 real quick. And also, like, all kids need it. It's really hard to understand. Like, we sometimes can't control. Like, imagining a child trying to understand their surroundings is crazy. This little body is just supposed to get it or behave. Like, I hate that. I hate
What
when
does
they're like, oh,
behave
he's
even
a bad
mean?
kid today. And I'm like, no, the good and bad, none of the kids we work with are bad. It's just like they've had life hit. Some of these kids have seen things we couldn't even imagine, like firsthand from the people who brought you into the world. Like, it's not even okay. None of this is okay. None of it, and it's just, it amazes me that we have people that work with these kids and are just like, yeah, they're bad kids today. And I'm like, absolutely not. Or they feed them crap, like from the state. And you're just like, why are you they also need to feel nourished. Yeah, it's just a lot. And I'm not a foster kid, and I wasn't, and I don't have foster kids. And, people are sometimes like, well, why are you doing this? Because we all were kids. It's science. You were a child. You were a child. You don't have to have kids to help children. Like all of us were kids, and you either had someone, you didn't have someone, or you lost someone. And that's what happens to the foster kids. Like, and we're just showing up.
You mentioned someone's like, why are you doing this? Right? Like, what does drive someone to do that? Because a lot of the times, like when I was working and doing the work with Ready for Life, some of the people they would hire on, it was really exciting because one of the children who aged out of foster care ended up getting a job in Ready for Life. And you see that a lot, right? Because they fell in love with this program that helped them, and now they want to help others that were like them. And so, a lot of the times when people are doing these passion projects and really doing things because they love them, right? What drives you to do that, especially when that wasn't your experience? How did you decide to focus on, foster children?
I have a couple really good friends that were in the foster care system. I didn't really know a lot about it. I worked for an adoption agency in high school. And when I was told I couldn't have kids naturally because my fallopian tubes were blocked, I was like, oh, we got to go to science. I don't want to be a part of the adoption world because I watched families with portfolios and like my heart would break. Like, and then it was just a lot. And I was 17 at the time. So I was just like, oh, science will have to be the way we're going. And I didn't know about the foster care system. And when my friend told me about how they were in it, and then I researched and noticed nothing's really changed, I was going to be sad about it for too long. I'm an empath. So, like, I'll sit in sadness if I don't create a solution. So, my solution was like, I'm going to mentor kids aging out, keep siblings together because I couldn't grasp siblings being separated because I'm like, oh my God, I lived for my siblings. And as I started researching and talking to DCF, I noticed education was a huge gap. You can't always keep the kids together because of what they've been involved in, and then mentoring kids once they're 18, and I just couldn't get it because I made really bad decisions because I got off track and I thought value is in money and I'm drudge, but I have a really good support system. So imagining a kid without any of that, and I couldn't wrap my head around it. That was it. I like to find solutions. I'm a solution oriented person, and I knew I didn't want to do what other nonprofits were doing. So I also understood like what was already happening, and education wasn't really a focus. Like there was tutoring randomly from people. And I'm like, I love teachers. So like staffing teachers. Oh my gosh. Literally. Oh my gosh. I can't. Teachers are the coolest. They literally went to school, purpose driven for children to get paid crap. And they're like the smartest humans on earth. And they're masters and they're reading specialists. And you're like, what?
And let's be
What
real,
the
being a
heck?
teacher is not safe anymore in public schools.
No.
So,
I took
not
OT
only
before.
all of that, they're risking their fucking lives just for the sake of helping people. Like, wow, could it get any more charitable?
Right? So like I love our teachers. And we started with they'll be like on a call with me. We don't ever post when we have openings. It's like people who taught with other people. And it's like one call, they're like, I'm in. And I'm like, you are? My teachers are pure magic. And I love that. Like my whole life I've loved teachers and nurses. They're on the front lines of helping people. My dad's been a nurse for like 30 years. But like I I am that person. I'm just not in that specialty. Like, I want you to be better. Like, how can I help you be better? I'm just not medical or education. I'm just, here's my energy.
Yeah. Well, you're a connector though. You bring people together that are able to do that. And societies need that. Like I always think about like the shows like what would I do if society collapsed? Like what would be my role in that, right? And your role is the connector. We really cannot do anything, go anywhere without that person who's bridging the gaps, who's the bringing the energy, making the connections, having the conversation, bringing the passion, and then getting other people to believe in themselves. I think you're surprised by like the teachers being ready to say yes, but they're probably surprised by, wow, there's someone who's doing this. And I'm excited to be a part of this. And so I can imagine they're just as thankful for you and your heart and caring that much and giving people a purpose instead of just a job.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they're great. They're amazing. And I always, thank them. And they're like, thank you, because I'm giving them their power back. Like, you literally, this is what you wanted out of your life. And now the school system has blocked you from this. They're doing all these horrible things in school systems. Like, they're taking away the power of the teacher, and they're the magic. Like a kid, the way I tell people too, like, you can have a kid who finally connected with their fourth grade teacher and then they get moved the next week. Like a powerful teacher, like in your life, everybody will be like, oh, my first grade teacher. So, like that moment when you've had a really good teacher or
That brings me
coach.
back. That brings me back to, like, a moment. I
See?
had this teacher every year, she would take her class at the end of the year to her lake house. Now, you can't do this shit now. I mean, that was the '90s, right? But
I know.
we
It
had
sounds
this,
like
like, big
sketch.
slide, and we had that, like, blob that you
Yes!
jump on, and you'd sit at the other end, and the other person would go
Wow.
jumping off. But she was the most kind heart like, I always consider her my grandma teacher, because I would talk to her, and she would talk to you like she loved you. And then at the end of that year, you look forward to that granny teacher taking you on the best trip that you ever could think of. And I remember that. I'm 39 years old, and I will remember her, Mrs. Coon, the rest of my life. I know she's no longer with us because she was like 60 when I was in,
Oh my
grade school. But
yes.
yeah.
That's what I'm talking about right there. So the fact that I get to staff teachers who are going to, one of my teachers one time, one of the 12-year-olds moved and she was like, "Hey, so and so left today." And I was like, "No, I didn't get to say goodbye." And she's like, "Listen, it just opened the space for us to help another kid." And I'm like, "Is she talking me off the like she's the sweetest." I'm like a mess. And I'm like, "Is she not saying goodbye? Where are they all?" Oh, no. But like it's just like they're all just so good. And they thank me often. They're like, "Thank you for even having this. Are we good for next year? Because I don't want to take a teaching job in the school." And I'm like, I don't care if I'm doing happy hours, getting money and raising money to pay you every month, every day. Like, yes, we're good. Like, we have to keep going. And I just like, people are like, where does your money go? I'm like, to our teachers, because they also have families and they also want to help and they also want to do what they do best. And that's literally help children.
Mhm. Something you said earlier when you were like, "Oh, they're taking the magic away." And I feel like we live in a world, in a society where our magic is constantly pulled from us every single day when we wake up and we look up social media, when we compare, when we think that money equals success. And that is how corporate conglomerates thrive and live. And so people like you is what gives people like us the will to say, okay, you know what? The world isn't as shitty as I thought it was.
There is so much good. Fuck yeah. And I often tell the kids that, like, there's a lot of ugly shit out there. My kids too. And I want them to see, like, we do have two hands, one for serving ourselves, one for serving others. But I also tell them there's a lot of ugly stuff. But there's a lot of good people. And just like the fucking Mr. Rogers saying, like, look for the helpers. That's all I want to look for. Look for the fucking helpers because they pour into you and they're just like the people. And I just often, I tell them too, like, you don't pray for an easy life. You pray for strength to get through anything. Like, this is how life works. Like, you can't like sugarcoat shit. But I also have kids that we work with who tell me their story when we're playing basketball and your heart drops and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry." Like, all you can say, and it's just like life to them. They're just trying to play a basketball game. Also, I play really good basketball. So,
Not mean to brag, but I can shoot a three-pointer
I
like no
don't
one's
want
business.
this to turn into how great I am as a basketball player,
I do not. I
but
could barely dribble a ball, but you know.
it's just like that, and it's like, my kids will sometimes be like, "Okay, here goes mom on her rant." But okay, I hope you remember this rant for the rest of your life. Like, life isn't as ugly as people make it, or you're not like, we wake up every day and we have to be like, "We're good enough." Now imagine a child without one person reminding them that they're good enough. It just doesn't make logical sense to me. So, like, as adults, we know that we know who to pour into. I'll call Josh, I'll call Tiffany, it'll be like, "Bitch, you're awesome." I'll be like, "Thank you."
And
I
we
feel better.
will, don't you fret.
That sounds like fair.
But like a child who has a staff member that keeps telling them they're a bad kid, like you said, you just end up owning that label and like running with it. And you're like, of course they're not going to get out of this cycle. They don't have that one teacher to be like, "You are awesome. Let's read today." And we're falling in. I have a 16-year-old that can't read. He wants to be in the military. He's been in the system his entire life. We have two specialists working with him. Like, we take the cases and we customize every plan for these kids. Like, there's not one size fits all. These kids have been through a lot. And we just want to get them to their next level. Like, what does that look like to you? Do you want to go to an HVAC company? Do you want to do, like, what do you want to do? What's your next community? What do you want your family to look like? You want to go to a bank? I don't, like, whatever you want to do, we're going to get you there.
Oh, that's amazing. And something else that I think goes into what you're doing is like talking about it, right? Like you got to be able to promote what the healing
Oh,
growth and journey is. And you have such an energetic presence. I know that your voice is being used for the better of what you're doing. And part of that is talking. And you have a podcast and it's called Not a Great Whisperer. So tell me
yeah.
about that and what that's about, where the inspiration got started, and why aren't you a great whisperer?
I'm not a great whisperer. I'm not good at it. So I haven't in the last year, we haven't done any episodes. We're like 180 because I'm so focused on fostering hearts, but we might revamp. Okay, so it's ordinary people living extraordinary lives, but we might make it focus on foster youth telling their stories, aged out.
I would love that. I think that there's just not a voice where you are hearing kids talking, right? Like, my stepdaughter actually likes podcasts. She was like, "Yeah, I listen to podcasts," and I was like, "Really? Don't listen to mine." But I'm like, not yet,
Not
but
ready.
we were gonna do an episode where it was just talking about her and her issues, and sometimes it could be hard to get her to talk, and she was like so gung ho and on board and wanted to talk about like friendships in school and identity and things like that. And regardless of foster children, not foster children, I think that we forget as adults how we were when we were kids and how hard it was to learn how to communicate. And we were just like, oh, we just get frustrated. Like, why is this kid acting like this? Or why is this kid doing this? Or why, you know what I mean? But there's so just like we feel the world and we feel everything, kids feel it times 10.
Oh
And
yeah.
having a place to speak up about what they're going through without having to feel shame or pity, because I think that's the thing. Kids who are in the system also do not want you to pity them either. And so
Yeah.
they do not want this woe is me victim mindset put on them. So instead, it's this hard, tough exterior. So people don't really get to understand and see the child within at that.
Yeah. I interviewed my kids on my podcast when they were little. It was super cute.
Oh,
But
Oh,
I was speaking a lot and I loved hearing people's stories, and what was cool is it was like my network of people, and I would be like, "Hey, do you wanna be on my podcast?" And someone would be like, um, "Oh, I'm not interesting." I'm like, "Everybody is interesting. Everybody is. It's your story." Like, we have to own our stories, and that really launched me into the books, and I have a kids book for, like, affirmations of kids in powerless situations. I had my friend like, I loved it as a space, and I just I was doing, like, 6 episodes in one day at the studio, and it was
oh
so
my
much fun,
gosh.
and I wanna get back to it, but I'm really been, like, not meditating because 'cause I'm not good at it, but, like, sitting in silence somewhat with my mind going over, you know you know,
Sounds like
you
me.
let's be honest, everything's guided to get my mind up, but I just don't know which way I wanna go with it yet because advocacy is a really big piece of this, and I would love to have more chances for kids to voice what they went through because people don't know. People don't get it. They'll be like I had one of my friends, she's in her 50s, and I was telling her a story, she's like, "What?" And I'm like, "This happens to children." Like, you just people don't either they turn their I don't know what they do, but, like, they don't get it to
Rose-colored
have a
glasses.
space.
It's easier to be ignorant, know the truth, but accept the lies because it's easier for you to swallow to make it through your day.
Yeah, and to not speak up for people, and I've always been like that. I remember growing up in high school, I was so protective of my dad, because there's just so much hate around, especially because I was in a religious school, but, like, I was so protective. Like, I was just so nervous people would say something, so I wouldn't say anything when they met and it was just so and I'm like, "No, now we speak up, we call out the a-holes, assholes." I forget we can curse here.
oh yeah,
Sometimes that's
Yes.
not my audience.
absolutely.
Fuck yeah. And
Yeah.
it's like, no, now we say it and now we share what the gray area is of housing our children. Like it's a money game. You're treating these children like money. And in Florida, it's super fucked up. We have nonprofits and for profits housing children. So you think they're in a good atmosphere when you're making them go bed to bed? Like, and then there's some organizations that are fantastic, but they don't have enough beds to house the other. Like, so it's like, no, we're going to talk about it. I don't care if that congressperson is on it. Like, I don't care. Like, these are children and they need to hear us talking about it so they know that there are people out there that want them to have a better situation. It's a real effed up area, but ain't cool.
No, it's not cool. And Florida right now is so fucked with LGBTQ rights, especially Florida. And the fact that you said something that really stuck with me just now is that you were out there fighting for your dad. Like most kids would be like, I don't want to be embarrassed that my dad is gay. And you're going, I got to protect him at all costs. And I don't care who gets in the way of that. I'm going to be that warrior. And that takes some serious guts. That takes some serious direction and guidance from whoever led you in life. And for you to be able to take that baton and go, you know what, we're going to do something with this. We're going to make fire. We're going to spin it. And then I'm going to throw it back at these fuckers. And oh my God, we need more Katy Rays in our lives. Everybody needs a Katy Ray.
Then I'm gonna throw it back at these fuckers.
That's
So
my favorite part.
I'm a visual person, so I was just like thinking of me taking this fire and just, but that's also where we come from at Fostering Hearts. Like, we're not faith-based. Like, yeah, maybe God will save some of these kids. I don't know. Again, maybe a company, like, I don't know what that looks like, but I was always, my dad, when I was younger, said that he wanted to open like a runaway home for LGBTQ kids that run away. And that always stuck with me. Like, we're always going to be a safe space. I don't care what your background is. I don't care who you love. And we have a lot of LGBTQ kids and they feel safe with us. And I want them to. Like, there is no reason that you feel like you have to be a part of this group home, an organization, because they say that what you do is bad and you're a bad person. Like, I don't want you to walk into somewhere and feel triggered and feel like I'm not welcome here. Absolutely not. How many adults who have come out feel like church is such a horrible place? Like, like, we're never going to be that. And we won't partner with organizations that want that from us. Like, absolutely, like, we won't. I'm sorry. Like, ghost me all you want, but we're always going to come in as full-on open-minded individuals that allow kids to just show up as themselves. Because it feels really shitty when you can't. Oh my God. Yeah, life is crazy. I do sometimes wish that I could just be like, hey, idiot, think like that.
I
Hey,
know,
you're a
me
fucking
too.
idiot.
Or
Think
just
like
like
this.
press a button or something. I mean, just then life would be
Throw the
perfect
fire
and we
back.
wouldn't have to fight for these causes though. And then that would be boring. So it's like, I guess I would rather boring and have these things not happen and not have to be outraged by hearing these stories or not have to be thinking like, dang, okay, this is something that I really want to do. But in getting involved with things like this, you have to really know, like you said, Katie 5 years ago would not be able to do this, right?
Well, yeah, just
That's the
mentally.
problem.
Yeah,
It's a
mentally.
lot. So a lot of people, because one of the biggest areas of burnout for professionals is like therapists, social workers,
Yeah.
dealing with things like this and seeing this and knowing these things exist and knowing that unfortunately there's only so much you can do. And like you said, you realize humans, people, children are numbers and dollar signs and spread across a spreadsheet, and no one is thinking about how they're living, how they're growing up, and how that's shaping them. And then when they're in jail, they're talking shit and they're like, oh my God, what the fuck happened? Well, you failed them. Us as a
Yeah.
collective failed them because we don't care and money is our God.
Yeah. And that's it. And
Definitely.
being in Florida, Josh can relate. Like, so when I'm on Zoom calls and I'm in Florida, I have to be like, no, the good part, like the people who love other people.
Blue dots that are kind of pieced around the red shit, maybe.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know what you're affiliated with. I know your heart feels blue at least.
100%. You know exactly. I mean, I'm a very, very clear. But it's like, I have to be like, no. I found the good ones. You can come. You're
Good.
welcome.
I'm good.
Like, you're good.
It's peaceful.
Yeah. And, my kids have it totally different. Like, they get to see love in all its forms and people loving on each other who, like, my mom and dad are in the same room with their husbands. I have 3 dads. So, like, I have kids I work with that have never even seen their dad. So, like, there's so much like, I'd never take for granted a supportive family. Like, it's just like having that. And my kids get to see it and witness that, like, these are your people. And it doesn't matter where they came from or who they love or like, these are your people. Like, it's really cool. And I often am just like, wake up and I'm like, mornings are my favorite. I'm a morning person. It's funny. Are you a morning person, Jaka? You're like, absolutely not. Please don't. But
most productive in the morning, and then once it starts getting a little later, I'm like,
I can't finish a sentence. But like, mornings are like when I wake up, I'm just like, what a day it is today. Like, I wake up about an hour before the kids, and they get up and they're just like, holy shit, mom has music blaring and she's dancing around and she's did her journal. But like, I am just like, this is the day because there's a lot of shit out there. And every day we have a reason to be grateful. And of course I validate the suck when things are shitty, but like,
I like that. Validate the suck.
yeah, you
I'm gonna
gotta
use
validate
that.
so you can push right through it. But like, it's so beautiful to be able to like impact one person, even if it's myself that day, to impact myself and be like, you got this today. It's still beautiful to be able to do that. We just take so many little things for granted.
There is a song by Demi Lovato. Tiffany's not a fan because she doesn't like the techno aspect of it, but it's called Sorry to Myself.
Oh, I love Demi, by the way.
Okay, great, because I'm obsessed with her.
Her too. She has a great voice. It's just the techno things. I
Her
can't
new
get rid of
album
it.
is so gay pop, gay club, gay happy, love, acceptance, and I'm here for that. So
I'm always here for it.
you got to listen to it. It's called Sorry to Myself, and she basically says like, look, I fucking beat myself up a lot. I did a lot of stupid shit, and I beat the hell out of who I am. But I'm gonna say sorry to me because this ex asshole I let in my life to ruin it, he's not gonna get that power. I'm gonna say sorry to myself because every time I puked because I needed to lose weight, I owe myself an apology. I heard that song for the first time and I don't know why, but I cried. I'm not normally a crier, but I felt like, oh my God, everyone needs to hear the song. Even if you don't like techno, the words of that song are you owe yourself a goddamn apology. And sometimes you need to say it out loud for it to mean that it's valid. So you sitting there going, today is the day and I need to own it and it's a day to change. I think that's
Yeah.
amazing.
But you're totally right. We give us back our 8, 12-year-old selves where we were free. We didn't care about anybody. I was wearing basketball shorts. I had a really shitty haircut from Fantastic Sam's, and I was just living my life.
Fantastic Sam.
Okay, hey.
Did you get a perm too? Was that your thing?
Listen, I cut my own bangs and it was
Okay.
like right
Like,
here.
going back to that of just like loving on yourself and just being like, I don't give a shit about anyone. Like, can we all just go back to that mindset? Because we just like let the people come in. I'm going to listen to that song again after this because you have inspired me.
Oh, thank you. That's
Thank
fantastic.
you.
He's like,
But
that's
I'm
the point.
It's a great one.
Right, exactly. Well, Katie, I want to know from you. We've had this great conversation, and Josh and I were so excited to have you on just because we love your just magnetic energy. And I was like, yes. I was like, oh, I have to make sure that I message her. And I kept thinking about it. And then when I saw you comment, I was like, boom, my opportunity. I'm on it. I remember, but what would you say you want your message that you want to leave to our listeners and watchers of Aligned Anyway?
So much pressure. I think it is that you are capable of whatever is on your heart, to do whatever is on your heart, and to always remember that you are enough. Is exactly who you are. You're enough.
I love that. That's something that I think we as a people have to continuously rebuild. You are continuously healing. Healing is not linear. The conversations that we're having where we're being honest, bold, and validating the suck, like you said, but not saying that just because we validate the suck don't mean we got to stay there. Get your ass up. Work for what it is that you want. Have some grace for yourself. Show empathy to others and find your purpose.
And people are so important. And the people that bring out your light.
That is key.
Like a walking quote on a pillow.
We really are.
Kate, you got a lot of things going on, but you are the brand. You are the vision that you have. Like, your name is strong, your name is bold, and you are bold and you are strong, and you're out there fighting the good fight, and you're speaking up for the people that are the marginalized, and don't stop. We need more of you out there. You've inspired me. You moved me. Your message is so freaking powerful, and I am honored to be able to be in your presence tonight because you're so amazing.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Also, when you bring the podcast back, let us know.
Definitely not. First, actually, let's say it right now. When I bring it back, you be the first guest. Because we're not going to only do foster youth, but we're going to add it in. It's still be not a great whisper, because I'm not a great whisperer. But
neither am I.
Absolutely not.
Not at all. Really bad. And I've had such a great time talking with you and learning more about what you're passionate about. And I really hope that listeners are compelled to do something, regardless of whatever that is. But being a part of it in any small way is actually a big way.
Yeah. Everything, any step forward with anything with yourself. Heal people, like just whatever it looks like for people. Yeah, I hope so too.
Heal people. That's a good way to end that.
Validate the suck, heal people, heal people.
Right, there we go. So we got our hashtags.
We do. We have some new ones.
And we're going to knit pillows.
Yeah, that too.
Josh?
Oh yeah. Katie, thank you again for teaching me how to knit pillows and the inspiration behind why I now need to. And thank you for everything else. And we know we're going to talk to you soon. So thank you again.
Yeah, I'll talk to you guys soon.
Bye, audience. Thank you.